Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. Leaders, today we're going to look at something that I believe that all of us as leaders need to pay more attention to. It's really the question, are you destined to lead? Now, that might sound like a funny question, but let's look into it just a little farther. Now, before we get started, I want you to know that the information on today's program was gathered from many different places and many different people. So if you hear yourself in our conversation today, please remember, it is not all about you. Now, the question, are you destined to lead? It seems to come up all the time. And I really had to put some time and thought process into this question that people constantly seem to come up with. And as far back as I can remember, people have sought, me out for answers. I've had some really great experiences and some, horrific experiences being the go-to guy. Sometimes I'm the leader, and sometimes I'm the leader by default of the pack or whoever the group is that I'm involved in. And it seems like they're always coming for answers. Now, leaders aren't there just to give answers, but I do believe we're there to provide solutions and grow new leaders. So I started to look at this in a different manner. You see, I was approached by a person that had a burning question on his heart. And he'd gone the traditional route, asking the leaders of the organizations about some things he was questioning. Time and time again, he was told that the answer would have to come from the guy at the top. The top of the pyramid. And I guess he started to really wonder who that was. Who was that masked man behind the curtain? Well, my friend, in utter frustration and to the point of anger, sought me out. I listened while he went through the whole terrible ordeal, step by step, roadblock after roadblock. And I did my best to wait until he was done and out of breath before I asked that question, what can I do for you? Well, he politely went on and said, maybe you could just maybe could you help me seek an answer? You see, I'd asked if he had spoken to the top individual. My friend said, well, I don't know him well enough, and I've really tried to build a relationship, but he seems to be really out of my league, overeducated and kind of snooty. And I thought about that for a minute, and I wanted to know more. I asked, do you trust he will give you an honest answer? You see, people that we work with, we lead, that's one of the things they always want to know. Will we give them an honest, true answer? Now, my friend went on to say, gee, Dick, I'm not sure. I told my friend that I would do what I could do and get back to him. So, kind of got myself up out of my desk, and I went to see what I could find out. Well, first one, and then two, then three of the leaders gave me the same answer. We can't help you. You have to go to the top. I answered, okay, absolutely not. I just kept going. And so, I was getting discouraged myself. So off I went to talk to the top dog of the organization. Well, when I finally ran him down, I asked the burning question that my friend needed answered. The top dog, his immediate response, was this: give me his name and I will talk to him. I said, absolutely not. A confidence is a confidence. He is uncomfortable coming to you, and I have some same questions. So I'm going to ask them. Well, after the top dog realized I would not divulge the name, he did not provide an answer, which I took back to my friend. You see, there was a ending there. After I'd gone and asked, this top dog got all angry and wanted to know just who it was who dared ask a question, and why was I there to ask the question for him. He didn't hear the part where this person didn't trust him enough to come and do it himself, or he didn't trust the answers he was getting. Now, the question did finally get answered when I kept, asking it over and over until the top dog finally gave me an answer. Now, the question that he answered was very quick, and I don't believe truthful. But you see, question answered, he missed the opportunity to try to rebuild and take care of the damage in the relationship. Unfortunately, this leader, immediately after I left his office, sent out a memo to all the other leaders and managerials and people on the staff that absolutely no one was to bother him in his office with silly questions. He was, by the way, the owner and could not be bothered. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to tell you that after about a year and a half, I went back to this same organization to do some other work. And there was a new person at the top of the chain. This person was taking time with each individual, getting to know them, and everyone, the trust was being built. But even him, after I talked to him for a long time, realized it would take him even longer to undo the damage of his predecessor. I want to look at some of the situations with you leaders. And if you see yourself in some of these, don't get all upset, but rather take this as a challenge or an opportunity to go and correct them. Now, one of the biggest problems that I see over and over in organizations, and this is companies, small companies, large companies, big organizations, small organizations, church groups, you just all across the board. But the one big problem is leadership is not shared in the organization. And a lot of times, even the other leaders don't have a clue where they fit within the organization. There's just no communication back and forth, and there's no identifying goals. There's no identifying the things that people do well. Everybody has talents and gifts. And am I being used? Am I using them to the best of my ability? The second thing on the list, quite frankly, I believe is even worse. You see, trust has been broken or is totally non-existent. In organizations where this happens, where trust starts to fall away, all I have to do is ask just a few questions. When was the last time that anyone spoke to you about your job? Anyone did a review? Anyone did any kind of excavation into your dreams and hopes and your gifts and your talents? When was the last time we did anything together as far as management and leadership? You see, this thing of trust needs to go both ways. In any type of situation, relationship, I'm going to say, I'm going to break it down to that low. Well, any kind of relationship, when trust falters, people become quiet. So one of the worst things that I can say for any leader, if you see your people getting quieter and quieter, you need to ask that question. Where have we fallen down in our trust that they don't even trust us to even ask the question anymore? What's happened to our organization? We need to ask those questions and do something about them. Now, the third one is no relationship has been built among the leaders or the followers. Leadership is relationships. I don't care how you break it down. I don't care what you do with it. But people buy into the leader before they buy into the cause. And when there's no give and take, there's no open bridge, there's no open road where you can go back and forth and have conversation and get to know one another and find out what the hopes and dreams, the gifts and talents, even know, make sure that we're all working on the same vision. No relationship has been built. It just stagnates. The people in your organization just become worker bees, mindless drones moving through and doing what they're told with no question, no response. Whether it's right or wrong, it really makes no difference anymore. They've been put down. There's no relationship to even ask a question. So your world will start to falter very, very quickly. Number 4, poor leadership, and leadership falls on more than one person in the organization. You see, some of the contributors that happen with poor leadership are no time, no trust, no relationship, no sharing of information, afraid to or unable to make a decision, or having been put off and put down so many times that they just passed it along. I want you to think back in your career, wherever you're at, and into that world, no matter what age you are. I will lay you money that you have worked with some kind of leader who was in this situation. You've worked in an organization, could be a nonprofit organization, where you were involved, where leadership was not shared at all. And the leaders that were in certain positions didn't fit there. I'll bet you that you experienced that this trust the trust had been broken. There was too many fibs and mistruths told, and you could no longer trust what the leader was saying. And there was never a relationship. It was always them and us. You see, I worked in a large organization where them and us was just a part of the normal daily routine. There was leadership, well, kind of. There was lots of management, but there was no cohesiveness between any of it. You see, they were all into the might makes right world where, I'm the boss, sit down, shut up, do what you're told. No relationship. It didn't work in the 1950s when they taught it at Harvard Business School. It doesn't work now. And poor leadership, and leadership falls on more than one person in the organization, and no one knows who to go to, when, where, or how. I worked with an organization here just recently, and I asked if there was an organizational chart. Something that everyone could look at, no matter where they were in the organization, and say, well, gee, that person's responsible for this. And if I have a situation, I need to go and talk to them. I need to take this opportunity to them. And I was told by the person in charge, the leader, the head person, the top dog, you don't need to have an organizational chart. You'll be told what to do and how to do it. I said, you just hired me to come in and help you repair your company. Can I have an organizational chart? Well, the bottom line was there wasn't one, and it was so wishy-washy. It was no wonder the people had no clue where to go to with what kind of question or information. I took some time and I sought out some people, and we put together an organizational chart with some duties that were, you were responsible for, who the responsibility of each situation, and those responsibilities under that person, and how it broke down. And the owner didn't care for it because he wanted absolute power. Well, his company is no longer in effect. It has closed. The good part about it is the employees who are now members of a large team own that corporation. That's a great story because they put into place very quickly organizational chart. They put in place a vision, mission, and strategy. It was amazing how they put into some of the things that they learned while I was there on their site, and the other man was paying for it. Now, I visited them a couple times, and I told them how proud I was of them because they took the problems and corrected them. So let's spend some time there. You see, leaders, it's all about solutions. That's really what we do. So here's some solutions. If you see yourself in here or you're an organization that's going through this opportunity, here are some solutions. First of all, leaders, listen. You got that? Leaders, listen. They discern. They think about the opportunity. They do some research. They get prepared before they make the answer. And once they make an answer, they take action on it. I can't get over that enough. If you've gone through that whole thing and you don't take any action, you have just sent a message to all the people below you or around you that you don't care enough to take and put it into force. Trust goes away. So the solution is leaders listen, then they discern, they answer, and take action. Okay. Number 2, they never answer quickly. If someone comes to you with a hot topic, they never answer quickly. They listen to the whole download. Remember I said I sat and I listened till they couldn't talk anymore. They were totally used up. Many times this is all that really it takes to have a solution. You listened, but listen to the whole thing. Okay? Take time to process it. You know, every once in a while when you're having a conversation with someone, you can take a few moments of quiet to really think about your answer before just letting it pop out of your mouth. And then make an answer. Okay? The next solution. If one person comes to you and says that they are representing others, don't ask who the others are. You see, it doesn't matter. I don't care if it was just them and they're assuming that the other people will agree with them. It doesn't matter. You see, this is a trust situation that needs addressing. And you need to practice listening, discerning before taking action. You need to have faith that the person is coming to you will start a chain of communication all around them. When someone comes to you with a problem or opportunity, believe me, they're not going to go back to their desk or their cubicle or wherever and just sit there and never talk to anybody and tell everybody what they just did. It's not going to happen. You see, people, we're human and we talk to one another. That's relationships. Take time to listen. And listen to the whole piece. And every once in a while, be quiet before you make a decision. Now, the fourth solution that I'm going to give is going to sound a little harsh maybe to you. But it's not. Leaders, I want you to take some time to be intentional, to add some trust building and relationship mending opportunities among leaders and others in your group, in your team, in your corporation, in your company, in your church, in your home. They don't have to be fancy or really, really terribly organized. But, you know, if you're struggling with it, if you don't know how, well, you've got two choices. One, you can learn. Two, you could bring someone in like Earth, Wind, Fire, Water, Training, Development to help you on that situation. Many times bringing someone in from the outside creates an even bigger effect than having someone from the inside. unless there's someone from the inside way down on the totem pole. Why do I say that? I say that because I'll tell you what, I guarantee there's people down below there, if you knew their gifts and talents, could do these things. They have those gifts and talents. And they're there. They're right in your world. But they'll get a greater buy-in because they come from that world. Many times when I've asked to go into an organization, because I'm an outdoors person and I'm used to working with people who work with their hands and large machines because I was a lineman. I'm asked to go and do that, and I'll go out and put on my steel-toed boots and my denim shirts. I'll go out and go to work with these folks, and I'll ask them questions. How are you doing? What communications work best? Is it a text? Is it an email? Is it verbal? Is it face-to-face? What works best for you? I'll ask them questions about, gee, if we got together and did some kind of team building, is that effective for you, or you just don't care? How is your team working? You see, great coaches ask questions. And this is where a great coach could come in and really help your organization. That's why I ask you, take a look at the opportunities here to build great relationships. Those one-on-ones are good, but sometimes if your organization is so big you can't do that, you can do it in a different manner. Encourage the other leaders to do it. You're going to work with your immediate leaders. They're going to work with their next leaders, and they're going to work with their next leaders, and it's going to go all the way down until it gets to the bottom. And because you're at the top dog, you're that top guy, it's your responsibility to go all the way down the bottom and ensure the information got there. You see, relationship is a two-way street. It's an exciting piece. It can make or break your organization. It's just a true thing. Here at Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, we truly believe that everyone has leadership ability. Everyone has the opportunity, or should have the opportunity, to build on that and raise their ability, raise their understanding, raise the trust, raise the character, raise their integrity. It all works together. But if your organization is struggling, you need to spend some time and ask the questions. Has the trust been broken? And if so, you're going to need to do some investigative work to find out when, where, and why before you can work a solution. You need to ask the question, do you know where to take a problem, an opportunity, a suggestion? Do you know who to go talk to? Do you know who is accountable for that part and piece of our organization? And if the people answered they have no clue, an organizational chart is pretty easy to do. It's just you list all the things that need done and you put people's names who fit in those categories by them with the responsibilities that they're accountable for. It's really pretty easy. I've never understood why more churches and nonprofit organizations fight this so much. But I've even found that large organizations seem to not really want to do it either. You see, this thing about accountability really starts to ring true. If it's written down, there's a name beside it, all of a sudden, we're held accountable. Now, see, in my world, that's a great thing. I kind of look forward to being held accountable. If you were in my office today, there's a big sign up here on the wall. It's been there, and it was in my office when I was in corporate world. It says accountability starts with me. And that's why I never cared if there was an organizational chart. I actually enjoyed them because even in my position, even though I was the top dog, I needed to know who to go talk to. And I needed to know who did what, when, where, how. And when all things got really terrible, well, I'd pick up the phone and call Miss Robin, my wife, because I know who the top dog is. Really, what I'm trying to say, leaders, And I know it sounds in your world, you might say, gee, he's really off his rocker. I have seen these problems over and over in so many different places that when we offer the solution, the hard work really starts to happen. When the people on the team, in the organization, around your table see that you're actually taking action, that you're doing something about this, your trust level will go way up. Your trust level will go way up, and it will stay up as long as you continue to show that you're doing something. I've often said action is the attraction. Well, it truly is. Miss Robin and I were talking today about an organization that seems to be faltering. And so we've been doing some informal investigative work and asking questions and asking them, what would you like to see this organization do? And what would you like to see happen? And almost 100% said they wanted to actually do something other than sit in a meeting and listen to somebody talk. They wanted to do something. They wanted to be involved. They wanted to use their gifts and talents. And so what we're working on right now is a gifts and talents opportunity to sit with each person and really kind of boil that down and find out. We're using a simple, I won't say test, but it's a simple word association opportunity where we can do that very quickly. And the people got excited about it. I had just one here on the phone just a few moments ago, and she called in and said, hey, can I borrow that and do it with my whole family? I said, well sure. So I sent her the copy. It's that simple. She said to me, she said, even in our household, we're going to have an organizational chart. I said, you like to who takes out the garbage and things? She said, yes. She said, because it gets so muddled of who does what, when, where, how, and the kids want to help, but they really don't know what to do, and they don't feel comfortable to ask, because if you're busy, I'll just do it myself. And I said, that's the same thing that happens in corporations. It's the same things that happens at churches. What's happening at your household happens other places. And that's why when we look at the solutions, most of it is boiled down to listen. Listen to the whole situation. Do the research to find out really what happened and what's behind this opportunity. Many times a person will come to you angry and there's something else entirely different that they're angry about or upset about that really isn't what they're talking about until you let them get done and you ask a couple questions and you find out it was something that happened 2 weeks ago or a year ago. And now it's just boiled over and no one listened before. So now listen to the whole thing. Listen, do the research, get prepared before you make decisions. You're going to find your trust value go up. You're going to find that people are going to start coming to you with real live opportunity ideas instead of gripes and grumbles. Let them know that they can come into your office and talk to you about anything as long as they have a solution. Okay? This has been a lot of fun to talk about this today. This whole thing is, are you destined to lead? I'm going to say, yes, you are. And just if you put just one thing that you learned today, just one, is that you learned that I need to listen to each and every person. You'll be a winner. Now, on behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, I do want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. Our hope is that you've gained a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you become a better leader. Now, if you have any comments or questions on today's program, don't hesitate. Give me a call, 727-422-1833. Send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. Go to our website, spend some time. There's a box there. You can send me a note, www.ewfw.org. And when you're ready for us to come out and give a leadership seminar or opportunity at your location, just give us a call. Get on our calendar because we fill up pretty darn quick over the year. Well, until next time, this is D.W. the Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.